In the heart of South Africa, a nation grappling with its past and striving for unity, lies a town called Orania. Founded in 1991, Orania stands as a stark reminder of the country's history of racial segregation. This small town, situated on the banks of the Orange River, has become a focal point of controversy due to its policy of exclusivity for white Afrikaners. Orania's residents, primarily descendants of Dutch-speaking settlers, govern themselves and maintain a strict policy of excluding non-whites from permanent residency. This policy, rooted in a desire to preserve Afrikaner culture and identity, has drawn sharp criticism from those who see it as a regression to the era of apartheid. The town's existence has ignited a heated national debate, with some defending Orania's right to self-determination while others condemn it as a racist enclave that perpetuates the divisions of the past. Orania's presence in the democratic landscape of post-apartheid South Africa raises fundamental questions about the balance between cultural preservation and the principles of equality and non-discrimination. The Economic Freedom Fighters, a radical left-wing political party led by the fiery Julius Malema, has emerged as a vocal critic of Orania's existence. The EFF views Orania as a potent symbol of the enduring legacy of apartheid and a direct affront to the principles of equality enshrined in South Africa's constitution. Malema has vowed to dismantle Orania and integrate it into the broader South African society. He argues that Orania's policies are not only morally reprehensible, but also illegal, as they violate the constitutional rights of all South African citizens to live and work wherever they choose. The EFF's stance on Orania is part of its broader agenda to address historical injustices and economic disparities that continue to plague South Africa. The party's challenge to Orania's existence has resonated with many South Africans, particularly those who feel that the promises of equality and social justice made during the transition from apartheid have yet to be fully realized. The EFF's vocal opposition to Orania has brought the town into the national spotlight, forcing South Africans to confront the uncomfortable realities of race, identity, and the enduring legacy of apartheid. Orania's leadership and residents fiercely defend their town and its policies. They argue that their motivation is not racial hatred or a desire to perpetuate segregation, but rather a deep-seated commitment to preserving their unique cultural heritage. Afrikaners, they contend, have a distinct language, history, and way of life that they fear will be diluted or lost if they are fully integrated into the broader South African society. Orania, they believe, serves as a vital cultural sanctuary where they can live, work, and raise their children within their own traditions and values. Orania's residents point to the town's economic self-sufficiency and low crime rates as evidence that their model of self-governance is both viable and beneficial. They argue that they are not seeking to impose their way of life on others but simply asking to be left alone to live according to their own beliefs and customs. While Orania's defenders acknowledge the country's history of apartheid, they insist that their town is not a throwback to that era, but rather a forward-looking attempt to secure a future for their culture in a rapidly changing society. Critics of Orania argue that the town's claims of cultural preservation are a thinly veiled attempt to disguise a deeply ingrained racism. They assert that the town's policies are not about preserving culture, but about maintaining racial purity. They point to the town's strict racial criteria for residency and the fact that non-whites are only allowed to enter Orania as temporary workers or visitors. This exclusionary practice, they argue, is a clear indication of the town's underlying racial motives. The very existence of a town where people are excluded based solely on the color of their skin, they argue, is an affront to the principles of equality and human dignity that South Africa has fought so hard to uphold. This segregation, they believe, undermines the nation's progress towards unity. Orania, they contend, is a stark reminder of the horrors of apartheid and a painful symbol of the country's ongoing struggle to overcome its divided past. The town's existence serves as a constant reminder of the racial injustices that once plagued the nation. The town's policies, critics say, serve only to perpetuate racial stereotypes and reinforce the notion that different racial groups cannot coexist peacefully and equitably. This perpetuation of division, they argue, hinders the nation's efforts to build a cohesive society. Orania's presence on the South African landscape, they believe, is a stain on the nation's conscience and a major obstacle to achieving true racial harmony. The town's existence is seen as a barrier to the nation's healing process. The debate over Orania highlights the enduring legacy of apartheid and the challenges that South Africa continues to face in its quest for a just and equitable society. This ongoing debate underscores the complexities of reconciling a divided past with the aspirations for a united future. Section 5. Constitutional clash, self-determination versus equality. The controversy surrounding Orania raises complex legal and constitutional questions. Orania's residents argue that their right to establish and govern their town is protected by the South African Constitution's guarantee of freedom of association. They contend that this right allows them to determine who can and cannot live in their community. However, opponents argue that the Constitution's commitment to equality and non-discrimination trumps any claim to freedom of association when it comes to racial exclusion. They point to the Bill of Rights, which explicitly prohibits discrimination based on race, as evidence that Orania's policies are unconstitutional. The legal battle over Orania's existence is likely to be protracted and contentious, with far-reaching implications for the interpretation of South Africa's constitution and the balance between individual rights and the principles of equality and non-discrimination. The outcome of this legal battle will have significant implications for the future of Orania, and could set important precedents for how South Africa addresses issues of race, identity, and the legacy of apartheid. Section 6. A Divided Nation. Public opinion on Orania. Public opinion on Orania is deeply divided, reflecting the broader societal cleavages that continue to exist in South Africa. Some South Africans, particularly those from minority groups who suffered under apartheid, view Orania with anger and disgust. They see the town as a shameful reminder of the racism and injustice that they or their families endured. Others, while acknowledging the controversial nature of Orania's policies, are more sympathetic to the town's desire to preserve its cultural heritage. They argue that Orania should be left alone to govern itself as it sees fit, as long as it does not actively harm others. The debate over Orania has sparked heated discussions in homes, workplaces, and online forums across South Africa. It has become a lightning rod for broader conversations about race, identity, and the challenges of reconciliation in a society still grappling with the legacy of its past. The divided public opinion on Orania underscores the complexities of navigating South Africa's post-apartheid landscape and the enduring challenges of building a truly inclusive and equitable society. Section 7. Legal battles and potential outcomes. The legal status of Orania remains a subject of intense debate, drawing attention from various sectors of society. The EFF has vowed to challenge Orania's existence in court, arguing that the town's policies are unconstitutional and a violation of basic human rights. They believe that Orania's exclusivity undermines the principles of equality enshrined in the South African Constitution. They have called for the South African government to intervene and dismantle Orania, integrating its residents into the broader society. This call to action has sparked a nationwide debate on the balance between cultural preservation and national unity. Orania's residents, however, are prepared for a legal battle. They are steadfast in their belief that their community represents a legitimate exercise of their constitutional rights. They argue that their right to self-determination and freedom of association is protected under the Constitution. This belief is deeply rooted in their desire to maintain their cultural heritage and way of life. They are prepared to fight any attempt to dismantle their town or force them to change their way of life. The community's resolve is a testament to their commitment to their ideals. The outcome of this legal battle is uncertain. Both sides present compelling arguments that touch on fundamental rights and societal values. The South African courts will have to weigh the right to freedom of association against the principles of equality and non-discrimination. This decision will not only affect Orania, but could set a precedent for similar cases in the future. The decision could have far-reaching implications for South Africa's social fabric and the legacy of apartheid. It will be a critical moment in the nation's ongoing journey towards reconciliation and unity. Regardless of the legal outcome, the controversy surrounding Orania is likely to continue. The town's existence raises important questions about the future of multiculturalism and integration in South Africa. The town has become a potent symbol of South Africa's divided past and the challenges of achieving true reconciliation in a society still grappling with issues of race and identity. The story of Orania is a microcosm of the broader struggles facing the nation. Section 8. The Quest for Reconciliation. A Long Road Ahead. The controversy surrounding Orania highlights the long and difficult road to reconciliation that South Africa faces. While the country has made significant strides since the end of apartheid in 1994, deep divisions remain. Issues of race, identity, and inequality continue to plague the nation. Orania serves as a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of apartheid and the challenges of overcoming decades of institutionalized racism and segregation. The town's existence has sparked a national conversation about the meaning of reconciliation and the need to address the root causes of inequality and injustice. Finding a way forward will require open and honest dialogue, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and a commitment to building a more just and equitable society for all South Africans. It will require addressing the economic disparities that continue to exist along racial lines and creating opportunities for all citizens to share in the country's wealth and prosperity. The quest for reconciliation in South Africa is a complex and ongoing process. It will require patience, understanding, and a shared commitment to building a better future for all. Section 9 Conclusion Navigating South Africa's Complex Present. The town of Orania stands as a stark reminder of South Africa's complex present. It is a microcosm of the larger societal issues that continue to challenge the nation, race, identity, equality, and the legacy of apartheid. These issues are deeply rooted in the country's history and continue to influence its present and future. While some view Orania as a relic of the past, a throwback to a darker era, others see it as a legitimate expression of cultural preservation and self-determination. This dichotomy reflects the broader tensions within South African society. The debate surrounding Orania highlights the need for ongoing dialogue and reconciliation in South Africa. It is a conversation that requires patience, empathy, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It underscores the importance of addressing the root causes of inequality and injustice, and the need to create a society where all citizens feel a sense of belonging and opportunity. This is a monumental task that requires collective effort and sustained commitment. Finding a way forward will require empathy, understanding, and a willingness to listen to and learn from one another. It will also necessitate policies and actions that promote inclusivity and fairness. It will require a commitment to building bridges across racial and cultural divides and working together to create a more just and equitable society for all South Africans. This vision of unity is essential for the nation's progress. The future of Orania remains uncertain. Its existence continues to provoke strong opinions and emotions from various quarters. However, the national conversation that it has sparked has shed light on the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for South Africa as it continues to navigate its post-apartheid journey. This dialogue is crucial for shaping a future that honors the past while striving for a more inclusive and harmonious society.